On today's episode of the Tech This Out podcast, I'm super excited to have the president of the Texas Association of Business here, Glenn Hammer, and the vice president of TAB, Gabriela Perdichizzi. They're here talking about why Texas is on the forefront of innovation, why we're attracting businesses worldwide to Texas, and what's next for the great state. Thank you so much for joining us.
Walt, a great honor to be on Tech This Out. So it's a bucket list item. So thank you for having Gabriela and myself.
The innovation, I think, is what we want to celebrate the most. And, you know, the Texas Association of Business is on the front lines of this. What do you see happening in Austin and in the state in terms of the innovation that is happening?
What we're seeing is Texas is going to be the center of the AI revolution. There have been, in recent weeks, two big $1 trillion total announcements, one involving Apple, the other OpenAI, and some other companies. And where is the center of that energy and activity? It's in the great state of Texas.
And it seems like it's creating a huge magnet. And as you get those announcements and as you talk about your membership and the people that are involved in this, it's just going to bring more people, isn't it?
Absolutely. I feel like we see a new announcement almost every day. We can't keep up. We're putting content out constantly, and it's a really exciting time to be in Texas.
Is the ecosystem collaborative here? I mean, I know we're competitive in Texas. We love to be first. But I feel like everybody wants everybody else to succeed because, you know, the old saying, rising tides lift all boats.
Well, the collaboration in Texas is best in the country. Adriana Cruz, who does a phenomenal job of running Governor Abbott's economic development and tourism efforts, loves calling economic development in Texas a team sport. We're all working together. And what have the results been, Walt? For 13 straight years, because of that collaboration, Texas has won the Governor's Cup. That is awarded by Site Selection magazine for the state that has the most economic development projects by capital expenditures. And Walt, here's the thing. We're doubling up the competition. It's like winning the Super Bowl every year by a score of 50-10.
You know, Governor Greg Abbott calls it the Texas miracle. It is amazing the draw Texas has for businesses, especially in the tech world.
Well, really, what's incredible about Texas is the diversity of the economy and technology being a huge part of it. And here we are in Austin during South by Southwest. But if you zoom out about what's going on in Texas, right now, we have created more jobs than any other state for the last several years. So you could say we have the best economy in the United States. But now we're a $2.5 trillion economy. We're the 8th largest in the world. We have a larger economy than Russia, than Italy, than Canada, or Mexico. And we are growing faster. Between dawn to dusk today, we'll add on net 1,500 new people. So we have the best economy in the world. But now that SpaceX is headquartered in the state of Texas, let's just say we have the best economy in the galaxy.
I agree. What's the secret sauce?
Well, if I could just kind of add on to what Glenn said about the diversification of our economy, I think that is something that makes Texas so unique for innovators because we don't just have this thriving innovation and tech ecosystem. We have all of the other industries that kind of support and help those industries to thrive, which you don't see everywhere.
Oh, supply chain.
Right.
You've got the talent pool, the universities.
I started the day at the University of Texas, and yesterday or very recently, Glenn Hager, our outstanding state comptroller, was just announced he'll be the next chancellor of Texas A&M. Our university and community college system in the state of Texas is best in class, and the focus is on skills, and they are producing students that meet the needs of the innovation economy.
You know, even at the community college level, the fab that they built at Austin Community College could rival some of the fabs in the world. And that's happening here in Texas, in Austin.
And in fact, when there was, we were big and remain big supporters of any effort to boost semiconductors, whether it's on the federal or state level. And the state of Texas has done more to promote semiconductor research and development than any other state by far. But when there was a major press conference between Senator Cornyn and Chairman Michael McCall for their efforts to support the Federal CHIPS Act, the press conference was held at Austin Community College. So it gives you a sense of the importance of our great community colleges in meeting the demands of the innovative workforce.
Because of that success, all eyes are on Texas. When people come into town and they say, hey, we want to set up shop here, why? What are they telling you? Why are these companies coming to Austin? Why are they coming to the great state of Texas? What is their narrative?
I'm going to let Gabriela get into the mechanics, but one piece of this that's important, and this is from a guy who grew up in New York. So when I was born, Texas was 60% of the size population-wise of New York. New York on its best day today is 20 million, and losing altitude, we have 31 million. So what I could predict to you, Walt, within the next year, the policy environment and business environment in California, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Maryland, Connecticut will be worse, and probably much worse than it is today.
Yeah.
But I could easily predict that the best-in-class policy environment for job creators in Texas will be even better. Less regulations, easier to permit, lower taxes.
Speaking of that, I want you to, dovetail off that as well. But Governor Abbott's setting up the new business courts here. You can incorporate here. You can launch your company here. You can do your business here. You get tax break here. The environment that has been created is really the win-win.
You're absolutely right. And one thing I want to add that is a bit of an intangible, maybe not necessarily a policy item that draws people to Texas, I think, is we're a friendly state. Our state motto is literally friendship. I think people are surprised when they get off the plane and people are smiling and waving at them. But that's really just the culture that we have here. So when you're bringing, innovative minds here and people actually want to collaborate and be friendly, I think that really makes a big difference.
It's funny. Coming from California, I was at HEB, and this was in '93, I think. And I had my items on the cart, and somebody said, "Oh, you tailgating? Who are you rooting for?" I didn't respond. I just sat there and went, "Are they talking to me?" And they go, "No, you. Are you rooting for Texas or Dallas Cowboys?" I go, "Oh, yeah." You just don't have that in other states. This stranger was talking about my weekend, and it was a great conversation. But business seems to say, "Hey, you're moving to Austin. How can I help you get connected to a VC, or what do you need for policy help at the Capitol?"
It's the concierge service. And Walt, I've been in Texas for 4 years. I got here as fast as I can. Gabriela is a native, but you're absolutely right. Just in terms of the friendliness of the people of Texas, we're the stickiest state. 81% of Texans who are born here stay here their entire lives. And it's the follow-up. I go around the state. I think I've spoken to more chambers in person than any person on the planet. And I am amazed that when I'll ask about a particular issue and maybe they don't have the answer right away, I'll get a text 2 months later saying, "Hey, Glenn, I just wanted to follow up." So it's friendliness and follow-up. It's just very, very special, and I don't believe any other state has that combination.
You touched on the diversity as well, which is, I think, blowing the world away right now. Texas is known for a lot of things, but now we are a leader in space. Intuitive Machines just landed on the moon. Firefly Aerospace out of Cedar Park. You got the Boring Company, Tesla, SpaceX. But you also have health tech. You have sports tech. You've got supply chain. Amazon. Amazon loves Texas. I mean, they're building like crazy. And that's another part of our success. I think, during the dot-com bust here, we were a one-trick pony. But you guys have done a great job of getting that diversity and supporting it.
Well, and also you think about financial services. We have more financial service jobs in the state of Texas than New York. Y'all Street is popping with the Texas Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange moving a major entity of it from Chicago to Texas. And NASDAQ also has a major presence in the state of Texas. And obviously energy. I mean, we are the energy capital of the world. Obviously, we have oil, we have more natural gas, but most people don't know we have more wind, we have more deployed photovoltaics. We're going to be, as Governor Abbott says, the center of the nuclear renaissance. So when you think about where the economy is going, you mentioned space, semiconductors, energy, healthcare, finance. We have it all.
You seem really excited about it. I mean, a lot of people that run business organizations in states do not have this much excitement to yell from the rooftops. You got to be excited about what's happening here.
This is the best place in the world to be in the business of creating an environment for job creators to be welcome and to flourish.
Yeah.
And that's a great honor because you're talking about all of these great small businesses and entrepreneurs. And I think that that's extremely important because we could talk about a lot of the major companies, and we are the headquarters of headquarters. But the fact that our entrepreneurs can come to Texas and with a light regulatory touch meet their dreams, it's inspiring to me.
Is that the key, the light regulatory touch?
I think so. I mean, I think it's really important that we have state leadership that is very much in line with the business community, is very in support of creating a more innovative state in an environment rich for innovation. So we're fortunate to have the leadership that we do at some of these initiatives that Glenn has been a part of. I mean, the Governor's Small Business Freedom Council, a report was just released last week with legislative recommendations. It's all about removing burdens on small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs, how to make them more successful. So I think it really starts at the top.
One of the challenges for businesses is getting the voice of the governor. You, Texas Association of Business president, can call the governor. He'll take your call.
Well, the governor is the best jobs governor in America. He cares. He wants to create jobs in Texas. He does an incredible job of going, whether it's around the country or around the world, to sell Texas. And you mentioned business courts. That's an important piece of this because as we are now the headquarters of headquarters, we want complex business cases settled in the state of Texas, not Delaware. And through Governor Abbott's leadership and our friends from Texans for Lawsuit Reform, we established business courts a few years ago. And Walt, we're going to make legislative history, I believe, this session by improving them, expanding them, and guess what the result is going to be? Companies that are used to incorporating in Delaware, they're going to come to Texas, like SpaceX and Tesla and so many others are now looking at.
No doubt. Between the regulation, the cooperation, the collaboration, and the money that's flowing in here is so important, especially for the bootstrapping startup and even for the Dells.
Well, when you mention startups, so, when our startups go forward, they want to hit it big. And what better state to hit it big in a state with no income tax? California, it's at least 13.3%. New York, it's about the same. Massachusetts just increased its top tax rate. So if you're a small business person and you have poured all of your life savings and all of your efforts, this is the place to do it. And you will have regional economic development groups. You think Austin, Opportunity Austin, as well as on the state level and the chambers doing everything possible so that you succeed. We celebrate businesses. Other states treat them as villains.
And you can really feel that as soon as you step foot in the state and you start incorporating, and that people want to help you.
Well, and as Gabriela said, the governor's Small Business Freedom Council has a set of recommendations. We're gonna lower business property taxes. We're going to ease regulations. We're going to make it easier to file for permits in the age of AI. And there's great support in the legislature to do this. In fact, I just testified at the new Texas DOGE committee, and I'll just say on both sides of the aisle, and that's something I wanted to also mention, is that there's great support for a pro-business job creation environment among Democrats and Republicans. This is not a partisan activity in the state of Texas to improve our business community. So, again, it's God bless Texas. This is the land of opportunity.
Speaking of that, what do you see happening here in the next 5 years?
It's a great question and a timely question, I think, with the release last week of the governor's new statewide economic development plan. And it's a 5-year plan. Glenn was also part of that effort. I was too in a different sense, but really excited about the future. I think the name of the plan is Bigger, Better Texas. So that really says it all. I think, we're all looking to the future. We expect a lot more growth and momentum over the next 5 years, a lot more focus on the tech sector for sure. AI is going to take off. We're really excited about what the future holds.
I have the great privilege being at the governor's mansion a few times in the last week or so. And Governor Abbott loves talking about a very recent Wall Street Journal story with the headline, "Texas is the low-cost, high-reward darling of big tech." this is a great area to focus on. And as Gabriela said, the state's 5-year economic development plan puts a lot of attention into the innovation economy, or areas like space, like AI, like small modular nuclear reactors that are up and coming, and we know will be a much bigger part of the world's GDP. Texas is going to lead on all of these things.
Speaking of nuclear, Texas A&M already out of the gate. I mean,
Texas A&M, a lot of incredible things going on in Abilene. The energy that the state is putting in these next generation economic areas is really more than any other state. And Walt, I should mention, part of the reason we could do this is because the businesses in Texas have done so well. We will have a $23 billion surplus for the next 2 years. No other state. I mean, California will have a deficit. Now, I'm going to admit, I got into my first fight with Grok 3 on this because I think that number is greater than the combined surpluses and deficits of the other 49 other states. Grok said that's unlikely, but 23 billion, there's no state that I could think of that's even close to that level of surplus. And that's because of the hardworking men and women who are working in Texas or running great businesses that have created this incredible environment that has allowed for all sorts of great investments.
anything I didn't ask or you think is important to say about where we are now or where we're going?
I think it's important to make sure we're also mentioning energy here. I know we touched on it a little bit, but I think it is completely inseparable from the tech conversation. Obviously, we live in a state with a unique energy system, and we need a lot more energy. So at TAB, we like to say that we support an all of the above and below approach to energy. We just need more of it. I think the nuclear conversation is going to be really important over the next few years. And, you know, there's incredible innovators in that space here in Austin. There's a company I met with last week that has a micro modular nuclear reactor specifically built for the tech community to be, you know, data centers, things like that, to be stored on site. So they're really getting creative, I think, in how they're interacting with the tech community. And I think we're going to see a lot more energy innovation.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And if I had, two letters when you think of AI, this is the ball game. This is the most revolutionary technology maybe ever, and Texas is going to be the state that models itself after Vice President Vance in Paris gave a very important address on how to handle AI. Light regulatory touch, focus on accelerating the technology, innovating, and then expanding energy supplies. Because the United States needs to do this to retain supremacy over China in particular. And that's the direction we're going down in the state of Texas. And if you think about it, if we continue to lead in AI, in energy, in semiconductors, in financial services, in technology in general, Walt, we would predict by 2045-ish, we will have the greatest GDP in the United States, the most number of people, and Texas will really lead the world in innovation.
Boundless innovation, united strength. We are one Texas.
We're one Texas, and I'll also just say, our geography, you can't teach height in basketball. The fact that we're in the center of the country, we're the gateway to Mexico and to Latin America and South America, and we have, great relationships up north with Canada and some of our other trading partners like the UK and Japan and South Korea. And I'll also just give a sneak peek, Walt. I think you're going to see Texas lead the way in what's going to be a renaissance in the Middle East, starting with our friend and ally Israel, but broadening out to the Abraham Accord countries like the UAE or treaty partners like Egypt and Jordan.
Are you in conversations with them now, or is there delegations that are like? Am I breaking some news here? I mean, what's happening?
Well, you're breaking some news. The legislature, we have 2 trade offices in the state of Texas. One is in Mexico. The other is in Taiwan, which is very important given what's going on technology-wise. I would expect that we're going to see legislation move forward that's going to allow for other trade offices to open. And we're on record at the Texas Association of Business that there should be an office in Jerusalem, Israel, the eternal undivided capital of the Jewish people, but that it should be used in a way to increase trade and prosperity with our friends in the UAE, Egypt, Jordan, and we would hope Saudi Arabia and other countries in the region. It's untapped, and it's very aligned with what the current administration wants to do, and we're optimistic.
You know, we have such a long story, but it sounds like our story is just starting.
It's really just starting, and then just getting back to the Middle East. You think of all the work that's going on in Israel, but all the work that's going on in the UAE. In fact, one of those big deals, the Stargate deal that we're talking about, the $500 billion deal, there's a major company out of the UAE that is part of that with Oracle and OpenAI and SoftBank. So, Walt, the great thing about Texas, there's a frontier culture here, and it's just fun to be part of it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. This is one of many conversations we're going to have to celebrate what's happening here in Texas.
You do a phenomenal job of educating viewers and listeners all across the state, Walt, and it's an honor to be on your program.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.